Yeah, hello guys. Very good evening to everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please confirm. Yeah, good evening Ashwini. Good evening Sabia. Good evening Sakshi. Good evening Rutuja, Srishti, Anjali, Harsha. Very good evening to everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please confirm. Yeah, am I audible? Please confirm right there in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, now let us begin the session. So in a day 4 session, we guys have understand what kind of question one in the TCS NQT is supposed to come, and what are the basic logics and what kind of logics those are going to uses right at there to solve the coding questions. Now from this day 5 to day 12, we guys are going to deal with the question 2, and it's a really very important aspects as we discuss in the day 1. As we guys knows that for the question 1, if we can able to pass all the test cases, and for the question 2, if partially test cases also getting passed, well, in that case our coding section will be crack easily, but we will try to understand them with a very different approaches. So let us begin to understand them. Let us begin to write with the questions, and let us begin to solve the questions right at here. So here, the from the question to one question is on screen. You guys have to read properly and tell me the right exact logic for the same. So here I'm opening the question. I hope you guys can able to see the screen. Please confirm. Okay, let us do understand these problem statement along with their implementation. Before going to the next, I want you guys to understand a one single approach for the question 2. Question 2 is going to ask, as we discussed, on a concept of array, or either on a concept of matrices where we are having a two-dimensional or any multi-dimensional array available, or else we are having a data structure. So we have to be more prepared for the same. And as per the days of TCS exams are going to run, that level of that question 2 will be got more difficult. Okay, at the last of this session, I'm going to be discuss the most important approach to practice the coding session, how you guys can able to practice with the coding question, what kind of frameworks that you guys have to be followed, and how to make yourself pro in the logic building of coding questions. Okay, before discussing with all this stuff, let us first discuss all these problem statement, and then at the last of session we are going to be discussed with the same. So here in this question, what is they have mentioned, a party has been organized on a cruise. Okay, there is a party which is organized on a cruise, and the party is organized for a limited time. So that time we are going to be input from a screen. At the same time, the number of guests entering that we are going to stored in array E, and leaving that we are going to stored in array L. The party at every hour is represented as the elements of that respected array. So we have the 3 lines of input as per the problem statement. So we are going to be enter the total hours of time for which this cruise is getting allocated, and we have to enter the array E, which is the entry guest for that event, and the array L, that is leaving guest for that event on every hour. Okay, and what is our task is? Our task is to find out the maximum number of guests present on that cruise at any given instance within that T hours. So within that hours, how many maximum or how much maximum the guests are there in that event, that we have to show, that logic we are going to build it. And here some input styles are different. That is why I put that complete entire question on a screen. So let us understand them, what is the input type and what kind of outputs that we guys are going to be followed with. So here, if you guys can understand, coming to the input format. So for the inputs, the first line of input is the value of T. That is total number of hours required for that party. Okay, in the second line of input, if you can read, so this is an array E, but if you can able to read the statement, that makes your program little bit changes again at a runtime. What is it says? The element of that E of 0 to E of n minus 1, that is still their last index. Okay, where the input, we have to input each element which is separated by the new line. Okay, see in the question 1 scenario, all the time what we guys have did is, all the array elements we have read it on a single line, those are separated by the space. But here, for most of the approaches, question 2 type of questions are going to mention like this, so that you have to read them properly and accordingly you are going to write with the code. Well, I will tell you the glitch, what exactly is going to happen right here is what, let us say for this array, I got written input in Python as a list of map of integer and input with split. Well, that reading could not be done by that TCS online compiler. As they mention, each and every element of that array is separated by new line. Then you have to follow that same inputting, then and then only that input styles or whatever we guys are going to be reading for our respected logic, that could be done. And the similar input we have for the array L, that is also again starts from 0 to n minus 1, where we are going to input each element of this array separated by a new line. And on this input, we have the output as 8, and that is the maximum number of guests on that cruise at the instance of that party. Okay, let us understood them along with the explanation. So explanation says, okay, this is a entry array and this is a leaving array. Okay, on every hour, as we have 5 hours, so you guys can observe we have 5 elements on entry and we have 5 elements on leaving. So right at here, so if you guys can observe at the first hour, so how many guests are entered? So 7 guests are got entered, and out of that 1 guest are got exit. So the number of guests remaining on that ship is what? 6. Okay, on the second hour, if you guys can see, the number of guests entered as a 0, that is mentioned at here, and the number of guests those are exit from the party are 2. So if you can combine this 0 minus 2, that is 2 again. So 2, 6, whatever the number of guests left after the 1 hour. So that is 6 minus 2, that becomes as 4. Now, when it comes to hour 3, what is the logic? Number of guests entered as a 12 and only 1 guest got exit. So again, we have already guest appears here as a 4. So if I'm going to write them like 4 plus this 5 minus 1, that becomes as 8. Okay, now for hour 4, we have 1 guest entered on an event and 3 guests are leaving from that event. Now to do that, so again, we have remaining guest as 8. Then this entry minus leaving, that becomes what? 6 right now. And at the last hour, we have 3 guests entered and 4 guests exit from that party. So again, this 6 plus 3 minus 4, that becomes as 5. Now for every hour, the number of guests that we guys are going to receive, like for last hour is 5, for fourth hour is 6, for 3 hour is 8, for 2 hours that is 4, and that for 1 hour that is 6. Out of that, we guys have to print the maximum number of guests available for that party. And if you guys can observe, we have this 8 value that is maximum, and we are going to print that output as a 8 right at here. Okay, this is the exact logic for our code. We have to find out first sum of guest. Okay, after subtracting the element of the array those are got entered minus the element of the array those are got removed on each and every hour, that is on each and every index of this array. And then at the last, we are going to find out the maximum from this, and we are going to show it on a screen. Okay, this is exactly the logic that we guys are going to be followed with. Okay, before going to the coding section for this question, please do confirm right here, quick yes or no. I hope you guys have understand what is the logic behind for this question here. Yes, guys, is that clear? Please confirm yes or no. Okay, from the Facebook live and YouTube live, please confirm. For this both of the lives, there may be a delay of 30 or 40 seconds, but you have to be confirmed very fast. Okay, from the call, I got confirmation from the Zoom call. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, from the Facebook also. All right, that's fine. Now let us implement a code along with same all these things. So what I'm going to do, guys, right here is I'm going to open the IDLE first. So let me open the IDLE, and I'm going to again write a code with that same changes that we guys have written day before yesterday. So I'm going to open the file as, let us say, TCS, this day 4. And here I'm going to write changes. So as per my input, as we guys have observed right at here, is what our array elements are separated by the new line. Those are not separated by the space. But the first input right here on screen is that number of hours, or we can say the number of time by which the event has been get organized. So here I'm going to input that value. Let us say I'm going to input in t equals to integer of input, and to read that arrays to the new line, we have to initiate them initially. And for the Python, if we are going to read an array, we are going to create them to the list. So here I am going to create E as an entry array and L as a leaving array. And now as we know, the number of elements to this E array is T, and again the number of elements in L array, that is also T. So I'm going to execute a for loop till T times, and at every single input I'm going to append that value. So here I'm going to say E dot append of integer of input. All elements are in integer values. And similarly, one more for loop I am going to write to read the value of L array. That is again L dot append of integer of input. Now we have successfully completed our reading operation. Now, as per the logic, okay, what is the logic that we guys have to be followed? Each and every index I have to first subscribe the value. Okay, what I wanted to find out the difference of the entry array current element minus leaving array current element. And we are going to find out their sum. Okay, if you guys can observe here, initially that is 6, 7 minus 1, but next time that is 6 minus 2, kind of all these operations we are going to find out. And as well as I don't simply wanted to find out this value, I have to find out the sum also. So to find out a sum, what I can do here in my program, I'm going to create a result array or a result list. And there itself, I'm going to store all these sum and the difference of this both of array elements into that list. And at the last, I can able to find out that maximum easily. So let us do with this. So here, I'm going to say that result equals to empty list. Now I'm going to process the array till T times. So here I'm going to say for I in the range of T. Now I wanted to find out the sum also. So that sum I'm going to store in capital S variable, and initially that was 0. Now here I'm going to say the sum plus equals to the entry current element minus leaving current element. And this sum I'm going to store it to that respective result array so that we can able to find out the maximum. Okay, before printing the maximum, let us print that result first. And then as per our information, we have to print the maximum value from that result. All right, now let us save this code and let us input the same values by each and every array element separated by the new line. So let us run this code. So I'm going to run a file. So here we have this input 5. What are the inputs? Let me check. 70513. So we have to enter each and every line. So 70513. So this is our entry array, and the leaving array here is 12134. So 12134, and the output comes here. You guys can see each and every our guests are going to find out, and the maximum element from this is what 8. Now let us check the same code on the test cases too. So we have here the value of T as 4. So let me rerun the program. So the value of T here as a 4, and the entry array is what? 3520. So 3520, and the exit array in this case is 0244. So 0244, and the output comes here. It's the maximum element is what? 6. But there is a glitch between these problem statement that we all got implemented. Okay, before understanding that all the approach, I want you guys to be got confirmed first. Whatever the logic that we guys got written on the screen right at here, I hope you have been clear with the logic right at here. Okay, please confirm, is that clear with the logic, guys? Yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir. Okay, okay, that's fine. Now, what is the exact glitch that I'm going to be discussed for this problem statement. It's all about the time complexity. See what exactly happening. So time complexity for the logic is being calculated from this result to these number of line. This is where the actual time complexity for our problem is belongs to. Now in this time complexity, you guys can understand for these for loop, yes, definitely we are going to require the order of n, where n is belongs to number of values of times right there, those we are going to be input, there is no any doubt. But when again we are going to find out the maximum from that list itself, so again the time complexity it is going to taken, that is order of n log n, to find out the maximum value from the list. And for this entire array, we have a time complexity, or this for loop, we have a time complexity of order of n. So which means the combined time complexity to solve for this problem statement is order of 2n log n. That is the combined time complexity we will have. Moreover, for the question 2, you guys have to be more clear about your time complexity issues, which means what? In most of the cases, you guys have to have write the time complexity as order of n. Well, if it is in matrices also, or well, if it is in, two arrays or three arrays combination, but you have to be make sure that if the logic is quite simple, kind of this, then you have to be followed the time complexity of order of n. And to do that, so in this question, instead of creating this result list, I'm going to create a variable. And in this variable, I'm going to store my maximum value of that result. And to do that, so again, what guys I'm going to do, I'm going to say results equals to 0. And now I'm not going to append the value of this yes to the result. Instead of that, I'm going to set the maximum value to this respective result element, those maximum in between the result and s variable. So I have to find out the maximum between result and s, and whatever that maximum value, that maximum value we are going to set it to the result, and ultimately we are going to print that result instead of printing the maximum result. So let us remove this line from here first. And as we wanted to set a maximum value from yes and result to the result variable, so here I'm going to write a for loop, sorry, if control. So if the result is greater than yes, then our result must be equals to result, else I'm going to set that result equals to the value of yes. So we are right now setting the maximum value from that result and yes to the result variable, and ultimately we are going to print with the same. Now, let us run the same code with the same input test cases given. So I'm going to save this code. Let us run a file and let me copy this input. So this is the input, guys. So I'm going to be copy from here and get it pasted right at here. Now let us hit an enter. So you guys can see again, it turns to the output of 8. But at this time, the time complexity for the program is required as only order of n. So instead of working with this list, you guys can work easily with these kind of logics and try to convert them to the order of n, so that whatever the hidden test cases allocated for this problem statement can able to pass with the mentioned given time of period for this question. And now you can able to test with the question 2. So let me run the program again. I'm going to save them. And let me copy this test case 2 right at here and paste it on a screen. So you guys can see again, we are receiving the output as a 6 for the test case 2. So this is actually the way to solve these kind of coding question to pass your hidden test cases also. I hope everybody here in a session from the Zoom call, from the Facebook live and from the YouTube live, I hope you guys have understood it very well. Quick yes or no right here on a screen. All right. Okay. Now let us shift it to the question two. Let us understand what is the logic for the question two. So I'm giving you time for 5 minutes to read the question properly. If you understand any logic, write it there. You can post it in a comment section, and then we guys are going to solve that question two also. So here the question two on his screen. That is not visible perfectly. Let me zoom it out. All right, so here the question two on a screen. Okay, we got some comment. First, calculate the count of color or alphabet which is present in the array, and then check whether the count is even or odd. Okay, we have to check how many times the color is present in the array and then print the first odd number of a color. Okay, that's really great. Let us do understand them. Okay, these kind of problem statement, especially for the hidden test cases, are really very important. That is why I choose and write it here. This has been asked at 2021 TCS NQT recruitment drive. So what is so special about this problem statement? Let us read them one by one. What I observed here, the two or seven candidates combinedly are got replied, two from YouTube and five from Facebook. Your answer is quite easy and quite similar to each other, but you haven't read that note properly. Okay, see what is exactly the problem statement, write it here. Check with this. So we have a problem statement that at a fun fair, so there is a fun fair, a street vendor is selling a different colors of balloons. Okay, we have a different colors of balloons right there, and he sells n number of different colors of balloon that's going to stored in array of B. Okay, the task is to find out the color, okay, that is odd color of the balloon which present odd number of times in the bunch of balloon. Odd color means what? Their frequency, okay, their occurrence. If that occurrence present odd in numbers, then that is the odd color, and that color you guys have to print, or that name of color you have to print right at there in the output. Now let us read the note. So note given here is what is the note given? The note given here is if there is more than one color which is odd in number, then the first color in the array which is present, then that odd number of times has to be got displayed on a screen. So there may be possibility of we are having more than one color in a odd sequence format, but we have to print the first occurrence of the odd number right at there. And the colors of balloons can all be either uppercase or in a lowercase. So that is also not mentioned properly. So in the given test cases, that is what from very first day I'm trying to saying this. You guys should have to understand the note, and this is where your all the aspects of passing all the test cases can be came in picture. So we are not given here as all the letters from that array should be in uppercase or should be in lowercase, which means if you wanted to compare them, you can convert them to the lower or you can convert them to the uppercase right at there, and then only you can process. And one more important scenario as mentioned here is what? Okay, if all the inputs are even in number, then we have to display the message as all are even right at there. Okay, that is the message that you guys have to be display right at there. Guys, just give me a minute. Okay, that is combinedly our logic to implement with the same. Okay, before going to the code, okay, let us understand the given test cases along with the same logic that we guys just now got to understand, and then we are going to shift it to the code. Now here, if you sorry for the disturbance, guys. So let us understand the given test cases right at here. Okay, so the value of n here we will have, that is what, 7. That means we have a 7 different values of colors those got sold of balloons. So we have the balloons here, red, that is R, again G, then B, again B, again G, and Y and Y. Okay, so we have, again, if you can read the question here properly, every single input of this array elements, those are separated by the new line. And the output comes here as a R. Why the R? Because R color balloons present in odd number of times in that bunch. Okay, odd present 1 times, which means I have to map the element. The logic is related to the mapping each and every unique element. So very first thing is we have to find out the unique element from this. So what are the unique elements? So we have this R as a unique element, G as a unique element, B as a unique element. Okay, this B already occurs, this G is already occurs, and Y as a unique element. So we have this 4 unique elements right at there, and we have to bind them with their occurrence. Okay, what is the occurrence of R? That is 1 time. The occurrence of G, that is 2 times. Occurrence of B, that is also 2 times, and occurrence of Y, that is also 2 times. And here we have to find out that element those occurred on the odd number of times. And here we can see the R occurs on an odd number of times, and that is the reason in the output we are printing R. Okay, now see, on the same test cases or on the same question, the question 2 also given, but having along with the value of color. But in the hidden test cases, if all are even in matches, we have to print all are even. See, this is kind of distractions in the coding questions are always be there, so that the candidates hidden test cases should not be passed correctly. So you guys have to read them and write the code along with the same. Okay, before moving to the question, okay, first here everyone on a call or from the YouTube live and from the session or from the Facebook live, please do confirm me along with the logic. I hope you guys have understand the logic. With this logic here, we guys are going to write with the code. Yes, please confirm me, guys. Is that clear with the logic? Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that is the logic. We have to use a dictionary to map it. So let us implement them right here on a screen. So as per the input, we have to read the value of n first, and then we have to read an array element. Those are separated by a new line. So let us try to write a code for the input. So on the same file, I'm going to write a changes. So here I'm going to say n as integer of input. And then I have to create an array. Let us say that is colors. Okay, that is initially empty. And I have to run a for loop till n times. And at every single line, I have to read them by separated by a new line. And to do that, so here we are going to say that colors dot append of, and we have to read a character, or that is in terms of Python, that is a string. So you can use simply that input as a function to read that value from a keyboard and store it to the array element. Now, very basic thing is we have to bind the unique color along with their count. And to bind that, so what we guys can do right here is we can create a dictionary. So let us create a dictionary on screen. So here I'm going to create a dictionary. Let us say our dictionary here is like D, and I'm going to create an empty dictionary. So D equals to dict. Using this function, I'm going to create empty dictionary. And in this dictionary, how I'm going to store a value? The key value, that is the color from this entered list, and the value that is going to store on this key, that must be the occurrence of that color from that entire list. Okay, let us work with this. So for this, we have to iterate from this array. So let us iterate from this array. So I'm going to say again for, okay, element in that colors. And in that dictionary, I have to write, okay, dictionary of element. So that dictionary of color equals to their count from that list. And to do that, so you guys can see the colors dot count of this element. So whatever the count of that colors from that entire list that we are going to store, and after reading this, how the dictionary are got created, first we are going to print with this. And then later, as per our logic, we guys are going to find out with that odd number of occurrence. So let us print this and let us run a code. So I'm going to run this. So let me close this. I'm going to run on a fresh editor. So let me run a code. So as per our inputs, okay, what is the input? The value of n is 7. So the value of n is 7, and each and every array input separated by a new line. So R, G, B, B, G. Okay, R, G, B, B, G. And I guess the next one is Y, Y. Yeah, Y, Y. Okay, now let us process the dictionary, how the dictionary is going to form. So you guys can see the dictionary right here that is formed. The R, 1 occurrence, G, 2 occurrence, B, 2 occurrence, and Y also 2 occurrence. So here we can find out the unique occurrence with the same left to right order format. Okay, as there is a logic of finding out the unique colors from the bunch of balloons that we guys have sold. So many of you can think that we can use a set and we can convert that list into the set so that I can find out the unique element. But when it comes to the set is an unordered element, guys. So there is no any specific order of left to right from the given entered array. So that is the reason I will not suggest you to go with the set right at here, because we want first occurrence of that color. Maybe in set, if we have 10 or 12 elements, so that order is going to be changes, and we don't want to change the order. In the same order, we have to find out the unique element and their occurrences. And now we can find out the values. Those are odd in nature. And then we can able to print that color value right at there. So let us do right with this code. So here, I'm going to print that dictionary right at here, and I'm going to say for, okay, the element in the dictionary. So for element in the dictionary can access the key values of the dictionary, and I'm going to check their values directly by accessing them. So I'm going to say if that D of element, that is the value, modulus 2 is not equals to 0. That is value which is odd in nature. If the value is odd in nature, so I'm going to print that key which is stored in element, and I'm going to break this loop simply. Okay, now let us save the code. All right, let us run a file on the same input given for the test cases 1. And now I'm going to check the output right at here. So you guys can see we have received the output as a R, which is mentioned the right output for this given test cases. Now we can cross-check the same input for the test cases too. So I'm going to rerun the program. So here we have the value of n as a 10, and the colors that we will have is A, triple B, triple C. So let me enter A, triple B, triple C, and what is the next one is AFC. So AFC, and the output comes right here is B. Let us cross-check the output. Yes, that is what exactly right. We can able to find out that very well along with the same logic that we guys discussed so far. Now let us talk about the note. In the note, if you guys can see the last sentence mentioned here is if all inputs are even, then it has to display a message all are even. And to do that, so let us cross-check here with the input given. So here I'm going to provide a hidden test case input. Let us say this is hidden test cases. So number of n are 6, and I have A 2 times, I have B 2 times, I have C 2 times. That is what 6 elements we got stored. And now here you guys can see we don't have any odd occurrence of the element. So if I'm going to hit an enter as per my logic, so there is no any output got printed except the dictionary. Okay, now to process with this logic, what we guys are going to do, so in my code, I'm going to create a flag variable that is going to decide whether which element is going to be printed on a screen, or else all are even got printed on a screen. So here I'm going to say flag, which is equals to initially false, and I'm going to create a result variable, I'm going to store it here as a -1. Now, if that is odd in nature, before printing the element, here I'm going to say result equals to element, and I'm going to change that value of flag equals to true. So if the odd element is found, then the value of flag will become as a true, and after completion of these for loop here depends on value of flag, either we are going to print the element or we are going to print all are even. So as we know, if the value of flag is true, then we have find out the element, right? So here I'm going to say if the flag equals to true, so we have the element which got stored into the variable of result. So here I'm directly going to say print result. Okay, whatever the result that will we have, that is our right element to be got printed on the output. Else I have to print as there are no elements. So as per my problem statement, I have to print all are even. Now let us cross check the same thing on the test cases 1 and the test cases 2. Okay, let us save the code. Let us run the file. So on this, I'm going to first cross check where we have to print the value of output as a B. So let us check. Yes, it's printing B. So there is no any change for the given test cases. Now let us try for this hidden test cases. So let me copy this input. Let me rerun the program. And for this input, it has to print yes, all are even as per our problem statement. I hope everyone right here in this session have understand what is this logic behind the code and how we guys have implemented this logic right at here. Yes, guys, is that clear so far? Please confirm. All right. Okay. Now let us begin for the question number 3 on a screen. So here I'm going to give you some time to read this question. I guess I have to increment the font size. Okay. Let me copy this to the new Word file and then I'm going to show it right here on the screen. So let me remove this entire lines from the question number 1 and question number 2, so that you guys can see the question number 3 properly here on the screen. So this is question number 3 on the screen. Please read the question. Right, time up, guys. So tell me, what is the logic? Yeah, that's exactly right. The logic right here is of the two-dimensional array. The array that we are going to store, as they have mentioned, 9 values that is going to stored in oxygen level. That is round 1, round 2, round 3. That how we are going to store. So which means 3 by 3 matrices I have to create, and I have to store the value, and we have to find out the maximum highest oxygen level. Okay, let us read it and let us understand them right at here. Okay, so here in this output, what we guys are going to do is, okay, the problem statement mentioned here is there is a selection of MPCS exam, including a fitness test, okay, which is conducted on a ground. And there will be the batch of 3 trainees, okay, which means for one entry, we are having 3 trainees right at there. And we are appearing for the running test to track the 3 rounds. Okay, so we have to build up a logic. You need to record what their oxygen level after every single round. Okay, so after trainee are finished with all the rounds, we have to calculate it, each trainee with its average oxygen level or 3 rounds, and selected one with the highest oxygen level as the most fit trainee. So I have to find out the sum of all these divided by 3, because we have 3 rounds for each and every trainee. And then next to this, okay, if more than one trainee attains with the same highest average level, then they are to be got selected. And we have to display the most fit trainee. There might be one or more than one, and the highest fit average oxygen level. And there are some note given for the hidden test cases. What is the note given again? The oxygen value entered should not be accepted if it is not in the range of 1 to 100, which means the value of inputting should be in the range of 1 to 100. And if the calculated maximum average oxygen value of trainees are below 70, okay, that is what the criteria where we can declare them as an unfit. So if that is below 70, then we have to declare them as an unfit. And if all trainees are unfit, then we have to print a message are all trainees are unfit. And average oxygen value should be rounded, which means it should be in integer data type. So this is the value that we are going to be input. So 9 inputs that I'm going to read and store it to the 3 by 3 matrices. Okay, that is having the row of 3 and the column of 3. Okay, let us first write with the code, as we just wanted to find out their, the highest average, and then we can able to segregate them along with the given test cases. So let us write the code for the same. So here for this code, what we guys are going to do is, first I'm going to create the array. Those are going to match with 3 by 3. So let us create an array. So here I'm creating the array. Okay, so this is an empty list, and here I have to create 3 rows. So this is first, second, third. So we got created with 3 by 3. And as we have to find out the average of all the rounds with each and every trainee. So again, one more array I got created as an average, that is going to store the average of all the marks of round. Okay, now let us first input the value. And if the value input is not in the range of 1 to 100, then we have to disqualify it. Okay, now to do that, so as is 3 by 3 matrices, so I'm going to write a nested for loop to input the value for, so for I in the range of 3. Okay, again for j in the range of 3 one more time. And then here we are going to read the value and store it. But before that, we have to check if the value lies between 1 to 100 or not. Okay, now to do that, so here first, I'm going to read that data. Let us say data equals to integer of input. And if that data, okay, is in between 0 to 100, which means data is greater than or equals to 0 and data is less than or equals to 100, then and then only we are going to add it to the array of ij. So let us add them right at here. So here I'm going to say this array of I, okay, dot append that data. So that I represent 0 to 2 indices, that is the row, and that data there we can able to add that values correctly. Okay, and if it is not, then as per our approach, what we have to print, let me check. So we have to print here as invalid input. Okay, so let me write here as invalid input. All right, so this is what for inputting the code that we guys got written. Now the next code that we guys have to follow is to find out their average. Okay, now to find out the average, we are going to, add them from all the aspects and put them right there on a like you divided by 3 and store it to the average array. So let us do with that. So here I can write within one for loop. So for I in the range of 3. Why I'm saying I can write in a one for loop? Because for the row 1, the index must be of 0. For the row 2, the index must be of 1. And for the row 3, the index must be of 2. That we know in static format. And that is the reason I'm not writing the nested for right at here. So here first, I'm going to find out their average. So let us store it in a temp variable. So temp equals to, that is divided by 3. And what is that? Again, the array of 0 of I that follows to the first candidate plus array of 1 of I, that is second round, and array of 2 of I, that is third round. And that is divided by 3. So which can able to calculate the average that is already rounded up because it is going to form in an integer value. And then I'm going to store this average or this temp into the average array using append function. Now let me show you how does this average array is going to print on a screen. So let us save the code. All right, let us run a file. So what are the inputs right at here is 95, 92, 95. So let us run it. 95, 92, 95. Then rest 3 values that we will have is 92, 90, 92. 92, 90, 92, and the last 3 values we will have again 90, 92, 90. All right, 92, 90. So you guys can see this is how the average are going to follow. So we have 92, that is the greatest value from our average. And now as per our logic, as we have to print the unfit trainee, if any trainee is below 70, that must be unfit, which means I have to iterate and I have to print that number of the trainee, and I have to print the maximum highest average maximum oxygen level also. Now this is the all oxygen level averages we got stored in an average array. So I can find out here the max element, that is the maximum average oxygen level from the entire array, that is the max of average. And now we can iterate from these, the length of average to get that exact count of numbers. Now here, if that average of I, okay, that is going to matches with the max element, so that is selected. So we have to print that in output like this. So what is the output we got printed? Trainee number, colon, and the position. Okay, now we can access the position simply by I plus 1. So I can able to write it at here as simply as I plus 1. Let us check with this. So here I'm going to say print. As per my message, I have to print here as, trainee number, colon, and the value of the position, that is I plus 1, if that is being matched. Okay, else if that average of I, okay, is less than 70, then we have to print unfit trainee. Okay, so here I'm going to say print, okay, unfit trainee, and again with the position, that is I plus 1. All right, now let us save this code and let us run this file. So here we guys are going to be works with the same. So I'm going to store a code. Let us run a file. So these are the inputs. So I'm going to copy from here and paste it right at here. Now let us hit an enter. So as per the output, what is the output we are going to receive? Trainee number 13, and the same output we got received right at here. Now let us cross check the same output on the given test cases too. But unfortunately, we guys don't have the test cases too for this problem statement. Now we got left with the code for this. All trainees are unfit. For this, we guys are left with the code. Now again, to make that changes done, what I'm going to do right at here is I'm going to create a flag, and in between the flag I'm going to store all these values. Okay, so here I'm going to create a flag, and as we have to print the trainee positions after this, so again for this we required an array to store all this trainee position. So I'm going to say here result empty array and the flag variable initially as a false. Okay, so here if the trainee matches, or if average any trainee that is being got selected that is going to be match, in that case I'm going to set this flag variable to the true, and I'm going to set this result dot append of this position means what? I plus 1. So we are going to insert I plus 1 to that result, that is the trainee position. And if any trainees are like this, then definitely we are going to print unfit trainee, but this message needs to be printed only when, okay, if and one more condition is going to add, okay, and the flag variable is equals to true, which means there may be a 1 or 2 possibility out of 7 or 8 element that some trainees are unfit, that we are going to print here on a screen. And if that is false, okay, now see what changes I'm going to do right here. After completion of for loop, let me maximize it on a screen. So after completion of for loop, first I'm going to check what is the value of flag. If the flag is false, which means all trainees are unfit. Okay, and if the flag is true, which means yes, some candidates are being selected right at there. So for this, you guys can write a code like this. Okay, if the flag equals to false, so here as per our inputs we have to print this message. What is the message? Let me check. All trainees are unfit. So here I'm going to print all trainees are unfit. Else I have to print trainee number, those who got selected, and store it to the result. So here I'm going to say for element in that result, and I'm going to print a message as trainee number and that value of element, that is the position that we got stored. Now let us apply this same logic to the both of the test cases that we guys got returned with the so far. So let us do with this. So I'm going to save the code. Let us get back here and run the file. So first I'm going to check on this where the trainee number 1 and 3 got selected. All right, so you guys can see there is no any change in the output, but when I'm going to run the code and I wanted to match them like this so that no maximum trainees are being got selected. So I'm going to provide them below 70, like 65, 63, 55, 56, 57, 46. How many values are there? 6 values. Again, 67, 65, and 61. Now here you guys can see, the trainee number 1, why it is got printed? Because it got get with the maximum value, that is 62. So which means for this problem statement, I have to add one more condition here as, okay, and the max element must be greater than 70. Okay, now let me rerun the code with the same input. Let us say this is hidden test cases. Now let us get back here. And you guys can see it is directly printing as all trainees are unfit. If you find out their averages, that is below 70, and that is the reason it got printed with all trainees are unfit right here on a screen. I hope you guys have understood this logic, how we guys have built with this to pass with all the hidden test cases, and how to write with this question to logics on a screen. Yes, guys, quick yes or no right there on a call from the Facebook live and from the YouTube live. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's fine. All right. One more thing that I have to show you right here is what? Okay, let me open the channel analytics. Okay, this is where I actually came to this call today. What we guys have observed after the analytics on our YouTube channel, as we guys are providing you these kind of supports to understand all the problem statement, to understand cons, reasoning, verbals, everything. But we guys have seen this like some of the students are watching the videos but not subscribing to our channel, not pressing the bell icons. Guys, if you are going to do with this, so then that will be a big motivation for us. So those who haven't yet subscribed to our channel, so provide a subscribe. And again, number of students in a call, whether it's on Facebook Live or whether it's on YouTube Live, the same number of likes we got required. And as I said in the last session also, share it to the needful people. And again, try to get more benefits from this channel to get you placed as soon as possible as you can. So today we are going to cover with the three questions, very important question to understand the basic logic building to pass all the test cases. Again, tomorrow with the same time, we are going to have a class, and there in a class, we more going to discuss on three these kind of questions to make more perfect on that coding question. As I discussed in this call today, I'm going to give you a framework to crack all the basic logic building questions and how to be prepared for the same. Many of you are having these questions. As yesterday we didn't had a call or we didn't had a session, so I got received a lot of audio calls from my students, sir, how you can able to detect the logic and how you can write the code that to live on a class and how the all the test cases are being passed. Well, that is all of experience, but that experience, whatever I got built up along with a one single framework. That framework here in a call, I'm going to be give it to you so that you guys can also able to find out yourself at a pro level in a coding section. Okay, well, when it comes to the coding, we have n number of topics. As I discussed in a very first day of our session in the coding round, we have a question one and we have a question two. Well, the question one will be of basic logic building that belongs to the array, function, string, and some a little more logical questions right on screen. But for the question two, that is belongs to a matrices, that is belongs to a number system, again that is belongs to a data structure. So for all this implementation, we have so many concepts to understand. Well, for you guys have to gone through with each and every single concept right at there, but you have to follow it with a one single rule. And what is that rule is? The rule is so called as 5 plus 3 plus 2. The rule is 5 plus 3 plus 2. What is this rule so exactly mean by? This rule is like, let us say, right now I'm, learning a for loop, and I got learned what is for loop, how to write in a Python, what are the different syntax, way to uses. Okay, everything that I got written very well, I got understand very well. But the most important question comes in a picture is, if I'm sitting on a placement exam and I got to know that in this respective scenario, I have to use a for loop, then how I should have to apply these for loops on the concept that I got understand to the current problem statement. And to do that, so you can apply this rule. Okay, what is this rule exactly? Is 5 plus 3 plus 2, which means if you done with that concept, okay, solve any 5 easy questions on that concept. Okay, then after solving 5 easy questions, solve 3 moderate question on that concept, and then solve 2 difficult level on that concept, or you can say the hard level on that same concept right at there. And that is how you guys can able to become a pro at each and every single concept, and you can able to like analyze very easily that for this logic, what should I have to do? I have to follow it with a while loop, or I have to follow it with a for loop, or else I have to write a function, or else I have to write a recursion. Okay, everything is right there, but if and if only you can able to find out these kind of rules. If you able to follow all these rules on each and every concept, let us say you have understand the for loop, or you have understand stack, queue, data structure, whatever you got to understand, you should be a markup with this 5 plus 3 plus 2 rule. Okay, there are 5 questions that you have to solve, that is on easy mode. 3 questions that you have to solve, that is on moderate mode, and 2 questions you have to solve on a hard mode. Okay, if you guys haven't did yet, so you try to do it from today onwards, and ultimately, as I said, you will be become and pro at your logic building. Try to do with this. Again, if you guys are having any single question, you can put it right there to the proper comment on this video. If there is anything that you didn't understand from this entire video, also you can put it in a comment. We will try to figure out for the next session. So that's it for today, guys. Again, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and do like with this video, share to the needful people. Thanks for watching this video. Let us meet tomorrow with the same time.